Welcome to the Landy Peek podcast. I'm your host and friend, Landy Peek, and I am thrilled to have you join me. In each episode, we will explore what makes life truly fulfilling: happiness, deep connections, and self-discovery. Together, we'll uncover that happiness is not a destination, but a way of living. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Landy Peek podcast. This is Landy Peek, your friend and host, and I am so thrilled that you have taken time out of your busy day to do something good for you, because this episode I am so excited about. Have you ever found yourself daydreaming about being the hero in your own epic saga, like Luke Skywalker or Katniss Everdeen? Well, it turns out that imagining your life as a grand adventure might be the secret to a more fulfilling existence. In this episode, we are diving into the concept of what's called the hero's journey. And it is a narrative structure that has captivated audiences in both ancient myths and modern day stories. Now, what does the hero's journey have to do with you and your life? Well, as we dive in, you'll see, if you start seeing your life in the reference as a hero's journey, it's easier to get out of those sticky, stuck spaces and see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can look and take where you are, if your life was a story, in the hero's journey, and have hope that there is something next that's coming that will help you. Maybe it's looking for guidance. Maybe it's just knowing after this really tough trial, there will be hope. There will be change. And the really great thing about the hero's journey is it's a cycle. And so as you start looking at the patterns of your life, you'll notice, just like I did, that in this cycle, we start with status quo and we end with status quo, just upgraded. So how did I get interested in the hero's journey? Well, my sister is publishing a murder mystery and it's coming out in 2025. And so as I was thinking about her in this grand adventure of writing a novel, I also started getting curious about what steps it took to write a novel and looking at the patterns around where you have a hero who has a struggle, who then goes on a journey and comes kind of full circle, but in an upgraded way. And I noticed as I researched the hero's journey that I also saw those same patterns in my own life. So the hero's journey was made popular by mythologist Joseph Campbell, who noticed that there was a pattern that was happening in stories, in mythology, around a hero. What if we looked through that lens as one that could foster our own personal growth and our resilience? So today we're going to be talking about exploring fascinating insights from research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, which revealed that those of us who perceive our life as a hero's journey actually report a higher level of satisfaction and a greater sense of well-being. Benjamin A. Rogers was a key figure in this research, and he described how every hero embarks on a quest, faces some trials, ultimately returns transformed, benefiting their community along the way. What if you applied this narrative structure to your own life? Well, I'm going to dive into some practical tips that can help you reframe your story and embrace the hero within. So, as we look at the hero's journey, as we navigate these themes, we'll also delve into Campbell's hero journey structure, breaking it down into the stages From the familiar status quo to the call of adventure, the trials faced, the crisis moment, and the eventual return transformed. I'll be drawing parallels between our popular characters like Harry Potter and Katniss and illustrating how their journeys mirror our own. Every challenge that those heroes face in our favorite books or movies, they're not so different than the obstacles that we face in our own life. So what is this hero's journey all about? You may be asking. Imagine it's like a cycle. It starts and ends in the hero's familiar world, their status quo, their regular life, but in between, they journey into a strange or extraordinary place. They face obstacles, they have struggles, and they have to figure out how to handle and deal with all that is thrown at them. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever noticed this pattern in your favorite book or movie? It's so common. So let's break it down together and see how, as you look at your life in the hero's journey, how you can find where you are within the journey. There's 13 different steps. And how understanding where you are in your hero's journey can make a huge shift in how you view your own life and struggles. So we start out in status quo. Everything kicks off here. It's just a regular day in your life or in our hero's life. So if we look at Harry Potter or Mulan, we start out in a day in their life, the ordinary life for them, the things that are commonly happening. Nothing big, nothing changed. We might get a hint of struggle to come. We might get a hint of struggle, but we're first seeing what their regular day is like. And then, suddenly, something shakes things up. That call to adventure. So with Harry Potter, it's the invitation from Hogwarts. With Mulan, it's her dad being called into war. That unexpected message or a bold challenge, we often don't see those big things in our life, but sometimes they are. Sometimes that call to adventure is that feel that you just want more, that you're really unhappy. Or maybe that call to adventure is finding out that you're going to move or have to get a new job. Or there's something in your life that is that tipping point. Now, often in these adventures, right, we have that call to adventure. We have a space where the hero is a little apprehensive. And I think this happens in so many of us, right? We have something where maybe it's an idea that you want to go to grad school, but then you start thinking about all the reasons why it can't work. Maybe it's you want a new job or a new career. Maybe it's a new relationship. Maybe it's a health issue. Whatever that call to adventure is, often we have it, and then we have all that second guessing. We see this in our movies and our books too, right? So in that hero's journey, it's normal to have that angst around the call to adventure. The hero then realizes that they can't do it on their own, right? They need assistance. In our own lives, this is often where we start looking for something outside of ourselves to help. And this usually comes from someone who's a little bit wiser or a little bit farther down the path than we are. I know in my own life, when I have hit those struggles, that's when I start looking for where I can find information, right? It's looking at books. It's looking for mentors. It's looking for people in my life that I can turn to be able to help process what's going on. If we look at Harry Potter, this comes in where Hagrid comes to help get him to Hogwarts. Mulan has Mushu, who comes to help get her the support she needs to start her adventure. So we start with that status quo. This is our day. This is a day in our life. We get that something that's that tipping point, that call to adventure. We then start looking for assistance, or assistance happens to just drop in our laps. And the fourth stage with the hero's journey is the departure. Now, this could be like Dorothy, who's actually leaving Kansas. Harry Potter, who is actually going to Hogwarts. Mulan, who goes on a big adventure, right? They actually leave where they're living. But it doesn't have to be. A lot of times in our life, this is leaving our comfort zone. This is doing something different. That departure is the moment that you choose to step into the adventure. Is that moment that you make the choice, I'm all in. I'm doing this. Now, just like in the movies and in the books, once the hero departs, their path isn't easy. There's puzzles to solve, monsters to fight, troubles to dodge. These are the trials. We have these in our own life as well. This is the struggles when maybe you want to go to grad school, you've put in that application, you've found the mentors to help you get there, and then you get accepted. And now you have to figure out how you're going to pay for it, how to move cross country, how to find housing, right? Maybe it's taking that job and it's something that you really want, but it's really pushing you out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's a health something that now you have big trials that you're trying to get over, hurdles that you're jumping. This is part of the journey. I think one of the parts that we, as just living our regular life, get stuck in is stepping into the departure, right? Taking that first I'm in step. There's a lot of times that we're circling around that. And then things get sticky once we're all in and we're going for it. And it's the trials part that gets hard. The trials part we feel down. The next step that comes after the trials is approach. And this is where the hero nears the biggest challenge yet. This is where they face the deepest fears. This is in the Harry Potter where he's actually facing Voldemort. This is in Mulan where she's facing down the Huns. With us, this is where we're facing our deepest, darkest fears. This is that point in our own journey when we really have to look inside and we have to see what's there. The next step is that pivotal moment. It's the do or die. But there's that hope. That's that crisis. This is where we're actually facing and struggling and fighting through whatever it is that we are dealing with. This is when Harry Potter is actually in the throes of the battle, right? He knows he's going into whatever challenge that there is. This is the biggest challenge. The approach is when Mulan sees that the Huns are there. That crisis is when they're descending. The crisis is when they're taking over the city. The crisis is the big action-filled part in the movies and the books. Sometimes the biggest action is the internal battles. Sometimes it's external, but in our daily lives, often it's the biggest internal battles. After our heroes, and you and I, face our biggest crisis, there's the treasure that comes next. This is when the hero triumphs and gains a reward, recognition, power, something truly valuable. Whether it's, here you are, you graduated with your master's, or you wrote that book, or you started the podcast. This is when we reach our goals. This is when we get whatever it is that we have wanted. The next is the world shifts. It's the result. Maybe the villains retreat. or maybe the chase is on. This is in our own lives where we start really facing and dealing with whatever that treasure is that we wanted. And then we have that return. So after we have the big storm, our heroes head back to their normal world. In Harry Potter, this is after whatever battle he has ensued, and he's coming back up to Hogwarts, often talking to Dumbledore. Right? This is in our life where we are stepping into our new normal. And then we have the new life. In the story, the hero has changed. They've grown beyond their old self. In our life, we do this too. This is when we have succeeded and we have grown and seen the change, our internal journeys. And we have now created a new life. And the next step in the hero's journey is the resolution. This is wrapping it up into a nice little bow. Everything falls into place. Those loose ends are all sorted out. And then the hero goes back into status quo. Life can't go back to how it was, but it goes back to an upgraded version of a regular daily life. Harry goes back to class. Life goes on. Mulan comes back to her family, and it's really cool to see how many stories fit this mold and how our life also can fit this mold. How we can take pieces and parts of our life to see how we went from status quo. We were called to that adventure. We gained assistance, a mentor, friends, support, help. We decided to actually launch into the journey. There was struggles along the way. We got to the point where we're facing our biggest, deepest fears. It's crisis. And then there's that gain, that reward, the recognition. Something truly valuable came our way. That treasure. Our world shifts, the result. We return back to a somewhat normal but upgraded world. And we start living that new life as we have grown inside. We have the resolution of everything falling into place, and we're back to a regular daily life. And it's so neat to see if you're stuck, if you're struggling, where are you? Are you in that pivotal crisis moment where you know, okay, this is hard right now, but it will resolve? Because if you look at the patterns of our own life, we all have those ups and downs, those cycles of, ooh, this is big, and then it comes back to a normal life, or a daily existence, and then it might cycle again, and it might cycle again. But we all come back to that normal daily existence. After every struggle, there's a return to peace. But even better, it's a new and improved peace. And wouldn't that flip the script on how we view life's ups and downs? Each of us navigate through our own narrative, filled with challenges and triumphs that shape who we become. We face our own dragons in the form of fears, obstacles, and doubts. Yet with each battle, we find new strength and wisdom. As we travel through our life's chapters, we meet mentors and allies that help guide us, just as we offer our own insights to others along the journey. And I think this is such a powerful idea, because sometimes we get in the space where we feel like we're the only ones on the journey and we're the only ones struggling, not always realizing that we are those mentors, we are those allies that are helping others along the way. And we don't have to do anything special or big. We just get to be part of their journey. Our stories remind us that every setback is a setup for a comeback. It's urging us to embrace change with courage and hope. Just like any hero, we can learn that the most valuable treasures are not the ones that we set out to find, but instead the ones that we discover within ourselves along the way. As you and I embark on our life as an adventure, I invite you to remember that each new day holds the promise of discovery and growth. And if we can embrace the unknown with an open heart, knowing that every experience contributes to the tapestry of our life, whether you're navigating through challenges or savoring moments of joy, you're crafting a story that's uniquely yours, because we know that connections are such an integral part of our happiness and health. We can cherish our connections that we make along the way, because those are the threads that weave our stories together. And by sharing our own triumphs and our own struggles, we can build a community of heroes, each on their own path. Yet we're on a united journey. Relationships help shape our journeys. And inspired by the lines from Brian H. Hawker, I'd love to explore the idea that people enter our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Each of our relationships play a vital role in our growth and development. This is really coming into that assistance part of the hero's journey. And each of those relationships offer us lessons that contribute to our own story. Have you ever sat back and thought about all of the different people who have come into your life? I mean, it's kind of fascinating. And I see, as I look at my own life, how some folks are just here for a reason, others for a season, and then those rare gems who stick around for a lifetime. So I'd love to step into this a little bit. You know those people who just pop up when you need them most? Maybe it was a college roommate who helped you get through those all-nighter study sessions, or a stranger who gave you directions when you were hopelessly lost. They're the reason, folks. They show up, teach us something, or help us grow in some way, and just like that, they're gone. But often they're never forgotten. And then we have our season people. These are the ones who are part of our lives for a distinct period. Maybe it's a high school boyfriend or girlfriend who shared your love for cheesy movies. Or a coworker who made those long shifts fly by. They bring joy, laughter, and sometimes even a few tears. But eventually, life takes us in different directions. And sometimes these seasonal people are the people that are hard to let go because we want them to be more, but they're only in our life for that season. And then we have our lifetime crew. These are the people who are in it for the long haul. Maybe it's your childhood best friend who knows all your secrets, or a family member who's been there through thick and thin. They're the ones who give your life depth and meaning, like that favorite song that you never get tired of. So when you're reflecting on your relationships, when you're reflecting and looking at the people who are coming in and out of your life, think about this. Which role do these people play in your life? And maybe more importantly, which role do you play in theirs? It's cool to think about, don't you agree? Because we often look at that reason, season, and lifetime for our own lives, but also being aware that we're in other people's lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it can offer us profound insights into the ebbs and flows of our relationships. Each interaction, whether fleeting or enduring, teaches us something valuable about ourselves and the world around us. Consider those reason interactions as moments of serendipity. These individuals might offer that inspiration or guidance or support when you need it most. They might help you realize a dream, overcome an obstacle, or see a situation from a fresh perspective. Their presence can be a catalyst for change, illuminating a path you may not have seen on your own. I had this happen recently where I was talking to the mom of a friend of my son's. They're at a play date and I'm chatting with the mom. And it's not that we were talking about anything deep or anything big, but something that she said was eye-opening. And I'm like, that is what I'm missing. That is what I want. But it wasn't until I was sitting there talking to her that I saw what had been there all along. Our season relationships are like chapters in a book. They're marked by those shared experiences and growth during a particular phase of our life. These relationships often leave a real lasting imprint. They're shaping who we are through their influence. And they teach us about joys of companionship and the inevitable nature of change as life leads us in different directions. For me, my season folks are those folks that I look back and I hold dearly in my heart, and I love those experiences. They're those friends that have those amazing stories and amazing connections, but we're not in the same place anymore. I'm not sure they would even fit in my life anymore because we're so different, but we relied on each other so strongly during those chapters. And then our lifetime bonds. Those are the ones that stand the test of time. These relationships are the bedrock of our emotional landscape. They provide that comfort, stability, and the sense of belonging. They remind us of the power of unconditional love and loyalty. With these individuals, we share not just memories, but a continuous journey of mutual support and understanding. As we reflect on the roles we play and others play in each other's lives, we can deepen our appreciation for the connections that we forge, and it can encourage us to cherish every encounter, recognizing that one enriches our life story in its own unique way. As we navigate our own personal hero's journey, these relationships become the threads that create a rich and vibrant narrative. So embrace the people who walk alongside you, whether they stay for a moment or a lifetime. Celebrate those lessons that they bring and the love that they share, for they are true treasures of our journey through this life. And as you continue your path, remember that you too offer your own gifts of wisdom and kindness to those you meet along the way, contributing to the beautiful mosaic of our human connection. So as we have talked about how we can apply the hero's journey to our own life, let's talk about some practical tips to help you reframe your story and embrace your hero within. So first up, reflective journaling is an exercise that invites you to see yourself as the protagonist in your life story. As you're writing out your story, what sparked your journey? Who are your allies? What challenges are you currently facing? Sometimes putting pen to paper, you can start to see your experiences as part of a larger narrative, leading to insights that promote greater understanding and even perhaps healing. And you don't just have to take pen to paper. I am not someone who journals well, but I am someone who talks things out. And I'll share a tip that I use personally. I will often talk either video recording or audio recording my thoughts, feelings, expressions, whatever is coming up. Because for me, thinking it through as I'm talking and then being able to go back through it can be really eye-opening. So I use a transcription app like Otter app most of the time, where I do this when I'm walking and talking, and I'll go for a walk, take my dogs, and as I'm walking around the block, I am verbally talking out my struggles. I am verbally sharing what's going on. It is helping me get more of that narrative down in a concrete way. And the really cool thing, if you have that transcription app, is that you can then go back and you have it in written form. So this is how I do most of my work as well. Outlining a podcast episode, writing a course. I talk it out, have it in written form, and then can go back through it. So taking that time to reflect, taking that time to look at yourself within a story, looking at your story from different angles can really help sift through everything that you're facing. So the next practical tip that you can use is to imagine your life as a movie. Now, my husband and I do this all the time, and it's fun. If this thing happened in our life, who would play you? Now, the really cool thing about this, as you think about who you would like to play you in the movie version of your life, I invite you to look a little bit deeper. The person that you picked, what qualities resonate with you about them? Is it just an external appearance? Or is there something deeper? This exercise can help you visualize your strengths and the unique attributes that you bring to this world. Because often those people that we're identifying, they share things within us that we want to grow, that we want to amplify. But we already have them inside of us. We just see them in someone else and say, I want that. I like that. We're drawn to that. And we might not even know why. So the next thing that you can do to really step into your hero's journey is seeking out new adventures. Now, I have a brain that is definitely an adventure seeker. I love to experience new and novel. I love to travel. I'm the one that likes to try new food. The rest of my family does not always agree. I am definitely pushing the boundaries for my family. And when we go on what we call mommy adventures, it's not always something big, right? It's taking a new or different route home. It's going to a new coffee shop. It's trying a new hobby or a new recipe. It's introducing novelty into your life, and that's essential for your growth. It's also really fun, especially for me. But I also see in others in my family who don't love that shift in novelty, who thrive off of the consistency. And it takes more to step out of those comfort zones than it does for me. But when I see those people step out of their comfort zones, I see the joy, I see the experiences that really can be a vital part of our growth. Every hero, this is part of the journey. Every hero faces challenges, and stepping outside of your comfort zone is a vital part of your journey. I think one of the most difficult aspects of stepping into this hero's journey is embracing redirection. Life rarely follows a straight path, and being open to unexpected twists can lead to incredible opportunities for growth. If I time traveled back 10 years ago, I would never have guessed that I would be living in Colorado, having a virtual business, having a podcast. It was not anything I saw for myself. My goals and dreams 10 years ago looked completely different. I was living on the East Coast. I thought I would have a career in pediatrics. I never dreamed of how my life would shift and twist and where it would take me. And I have no idea 10 years from now where I will be. When we can embrace those twists and changes, those serendipitous moments that things just fall in our laps, sometimes, I would even wager most of the time, those serendipitous twists lead us to exactly where we need to be. When we face our setbacks, I invite you to consider them as part of your character development. If you were sitting here as an author writing the story, it's those times of struggle that we start to really love the characters. That's when we see their true personalities. And much like reading a novel, those times of struggles can be opportunities where we can start admiring the heroes within us. So take a moment, go back through, look at the hero's journey. I have it all outlined in the show notes, all 13 steps, and see if you can figure out where you are right now in your life and what's your next step and what you need. Because perhaps you've just heard that call to adventure and you're looking for a mentor or some help. Maybe you've taken that next step and you're facing a lot of trials right now. Knowing that there will be that pivotal point, and then you will tip over to get that reward and life will eventually reset. Get curious for your own self. Sit down or talk out your journey and see what incredible insights come for you. I would love to hear them. Reach out and share. So whether you're navigating the trials of life or celebrating your victories, remember that you're crafting a story. As you reflect on your journey, consider how each experience, each person, each challenge contributed to the tapestry of your life, of your story. Join me as we celebrate the beauty of our own individual and shared journeys. And I'd really invite you to embrace the hero within and the adventures that lie ahead or that you're right in the middle of. Every day holds that promise of discovery and transformation. So get ready to step into your own epic tale. And research has shown that hearing it in a you form has more impact than the I form. You are smart. You are fun. You are creative. You are talented. You are an incredible human being. You are worthy and you are deserving. And I am so thankful that you are in my life. I love you and I like you. And I wish you all the happiness on your incredible hero's journey. We'll talk to you on the next podcast. Hey, before you go, just a little bit of legal. This podcast is designed for educational purposes only. It is not to replace any expert advice from your doctors, therapists, coaches, or any other professional that you would work with. It's just a chat with a friend, me, where we get curious about ideas, thoughts, and things that are going on in our lives. And as we're talking about friends, if you know someone who would benefit from the conversation today, please share, because I think the more that we open up these conversations, the more benefit we all get. So until next time, give yourself a big hug from me and stay curious, because that's the fun in this world.